Centuries ago, the God of Light sent 12 angels, each representing a different zodiac symbol, to the mortal world. Their mission was to create peace. After they completed their mission, humans began to worship the God of Light. But the God of Darkness wasn't having it and sent an army of evil spirits to destroy the human world. A massive war broke out, and the 12 angels fought the darkness without giving up. The angels finally won, and both their and the dark god's powers were sealed away at the gates of hell. The angels now live as ordinary humans. In the modern era, a dude wearing a tiger print suit walked into a prison with a swagger that was a whole mood. This was our guy, Tyson, a leader among the angels who was blessed with the power of the tiger. As a human, he was the head of a loan company called Angel Capital Group. He was there to collect a massive debt from Gangster, a gangster boss who was sitting behind bars. Without wasting any time, Tyson demanded the $2 billion that Gangster owed him, including interest. But Gangster didn't take him seriously and even said he was going to send his men to destroy Angel Capital. Tyson, calm as ever, stated that Angel Capital only lent money to gangsters and criminals because it was easier to get it back without dealing with corrupt police officers. He also told Gangster that he had been collecting debts for 100 years and had never once failed. Gangster laughed it off, thinking Tyson was a total psycho because he still looked so young for someone who claimed to have lived for over a century. After leaving the cell, Tyson ordered his subordinate, a young man named Juidol, to pay Gangster's bail. Juidol was the rat zodiac angel and the head IT guy at Angel Capital. We then got a look at Angel Capital's headquarters, which was a 3-story building. The 3rd floor was a gym for martial arts training. The 2nd floor was a traditional medicine clinic, and the 1st floor was the loan office. On the 1st floor, a woman named Kang Ji, the dog zodiac angel, was seen rejecting a loan from a man with no criminal record. She explained that Angel Capital only gave loans to ex-convicts and gangsters. Weird, but that was how they worked. Meanwhile, on the 3rd floor, 2 more people were getting down to business. A woman named Mal Suk, the horse zodiac angel, was swinging her sword with perfect precision. Beside her, a man named Won Sung, the monkey zodiac angel, was working on his arm strength. Just then, a blaring emergency message came in, signaling a new job. Juidol immediately left his office and joined his colleagues, ready to go collect another debt. Won Sung was so pumped up that he didn't even bother taking the stairs. He just jumped right over the railing, leaving his teammates with a look of exasperation. Meanwhile, Tyson had just left the prison when his phone rang. It was Marok, a detective, and also the manager of the 12 Angels. Marok laid on the flattery, praising Tyson for his work and telling him he was a total rock star. But Tyson knew what was up. Marok was at a fancy boutique and wanted to borrow some more money, even though he hadn't paid back his last loan. Tyson flat out refused, but Marok kept on trying to convince him, reminding Tyson about all the times they had saved each other's lives back in the day. The memories worked their magic, and Tyson finally gave in, sending Marok the money. Back at the Angel Capital building, on the 2nd floor, a chubby pharmacist named Doni, the pig zodiac angel, was busy writing out prescriptions. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream echoed from the examination room. Doni went to check it out and saw the doctor, a quiet woman named Bang Wool, who was the snake zodiac angel. Bang Wool was either mute or just chose not to speak, but he had just aggressively twisted a patient's neck until the dude passed out cold. The other patients were freaking out. One even got up and made a run for it. Another, who was paralyzed, tried to wheel himself away, but Doni was quick to calm everyone down and scolded Bang Wool for his extreme methods. Just then, the guy who had passed out woke up and said that his chronic headaches were magically gone. He was so grateful and shocked when he found out how cheap the treatment was. But that wasn't the only miracle. The paralyzed patient was also able to stand up and walk. Turns out, Bang Wool's talent was a divine gift, a blessing that had been given to him as the snake zodiac angel. Meanwhile, Marok was done with his shopping spree and headed to a museum. He walked in just as a woman named Mir was giving a tour to a group of children, explaining the history of the 12 angels and their battle against evil spirits. The kids were totally into it, like they were listening to a fairy tale. Marok tried to bribe Mir with all the expensive stuff he had just bought, hoping it would convince her to come back to Angel Capital. But she was not having it, flatly refusing his offer and asking him not to come see her at work again. Marok kept trying to sweet-talk her, reminding her that she had been gone from Tayson and the others for 10 years. But Mir just left, not even bothering to give Marok a response. Inside the museum, Mir suddenly froze, her mind elsewhere. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a necklace with a unique pendant. a token that served as the identification for all 12 angels. Looking at it, you couldn't help but wonder what had happened between her and the others. Meanwhile, a gangster boss named Yang Su was celebrating his release from prison. The party was in full swing with his crew and his girlfriend when his phone rang. He looked at the screen and saw Tyson's name. Tyson calmly congratulated him on his release, and that's when it finally clicked for Yang Su. It was Angel Capital that had bailed him out. He knew Tyson wasn't just calling to say congrats. He was coming for his money. Yang Su immediately went into a full-on panic. He ordered his men, a group of ex-MMA fighters and a boxing champion, to get ready. He even told his girlfriend to get out of the way because he didn't want her to see the kind of savage beatdown that was about to happen. Moments later, Tyson's car pulled up. He got out of the car, cool as a cucumber, and was immediately surrounded by the gangsters. They had no idea what kind of monster they were up against. Tyson took them all out with no effort at all. Yang Su watched in terror as his best men fell one after another. He started shaking, seeing that his best men were no match for Tyson. He raced to his safe to grab all his money, but he was too late. Tyson was already standing there. Yang Su was so scared that he immediately offered Tyson all the cash in his safe, but Tyson didn't even want to get his hands dirty. He told Yang Su to empty his own safe and pack up the cash. Once the money was all packed up, Yang Su's entire crew knelt on the floor, a clear sign that they had officially surrendered. After that, Tyson made him sign a debt release form, but since the money still wasn't enough, Yang Su was forced to give up his fancy watch and his favorite sports car. Meanwhile, in another part of town, Wansheng, Malsuk, and Kangji were all on another mission. They were headed to a rundown building that was a known gangster hideout. They were arguing about who was going to go in first, but Wansheng confidently stated that he could handle it all on his own. He then started to meticulously plan a complicated route to get inside, being extra careful not to make a single sound. He moved slowly and cautiously, but as he was climbing the wall, he looked down and saw that Malsuk and Kangji had already taken out the guards on their own. They then made their way to a room where illegal gambling was happening. The boss saw them coming and screamed at his men to get them. A brutal fight broke out, with punches flying everywhere. Amidst the melee, Wansheng and the other angels were in a full-on brawl with a group of thugs. Juidol, who was monitoring from a distance, sent a quick message that the boss was making a run for it with 2 bags of cash. But the gangster boss didn't get far. He ran right into Doni, the pig zodiac angel. Doni wasn't a fighter, but he used his large body to send the boss flying. Malsuk arrived moments later, and the two of them quickly secured the bags of money. It was then revealed that the money was to pay what the gangster boss owed them. After the mission, Tyson made a pit stop at a small shop owned by an elderly woman named Gumsun. The moment she saw him, her eyes went wide, and she wrapped him in a huge hug. They had known each other since she was a little girl. To Gumsun, Tyson was her guardian angel. She knew he was a real angel because he had once saved her mother from a group of thugs. She gave him some words of wisdom, telling him that he wasn't just a tough guy who collected debts. He was a guardian angel. The moment was interrupted by an old man named Manbach, who was a total hothead. He scolded Tyson for speaking so casually to an elder. But then, he did a double take. He suddenly remembered Tyson from his childhood, and he started crying. He was shocked that Tyson hadn't aged a single day. Meanwhile, at the police station, Marak was eating a snack while watching the news. He saw a breaking news story about an ancient artifact that had been discovered. The reporter said the artifact had an unusual energy spectrum. At the same time, in a remote, mysterious valley, a group of people in black robes were performing a ritual in front of a stone cliff. Their leader, a priest named Sa Min, sliced his hand with a knife and let the blood drip into a bowl, and the water inside instantly started to boil. During a full red moon, he smeared the blood on the cliff. Something on the other side of the cliff reacted, pushing Sa Min back with incredible force. But he didn't give up. He used all his energy to awaken a figure that had been sealed for thousands of years there. Then there he was. A man with black wings giving off an evil vibe. Back at Angel Capital headquarters, Tyson walked into a secret room. Inside, there was a massive safe filled with cash, gold bars, and other valuable artifacts, but despite all his wealth, he felt empty. Gumsun's words echoed in his mind, and her words made him feel restless. His purpose was more than just collecting money. As Taisan sat in his chair, lost in thought, his mind drifted back to a time long ago, to the ancient days when the Samhan kingdom was thriving. He was walking through a quiet village with Mir when they stumbled upon a group of bandits savagely attacking the common folk. Mir, with her heart of gold, instantly wanted to help, but Taisan stopped her, and without saying a single word, he took matters into his own hands. With the speed of a tiger and the force of a wrecking ball, Taisan's punches sent the bandits flying, one after another. Just as Taisan was about to finish them all off, Mir, in a moment of panic, let her guard down and accidentally used her power. The villagers watched in awe as a fierce gust of wind knocked a bandit off his feet. Once they saw Mir's power, the villagers immediately grew suspicious and started asking questions about who they were. Once Taisan was done, he didn't waste a second. He walked straight up to Mir, grabbed her hand, and pulled her away from the village. That night, at their humble home, the villagers they had saved showed up with a feast as a thank you gift. Taisan was suspicious and initially refused to accept it, but Mir convinced him to take their offering. They ate and drank with the villagers, not suspecting a single thing. But the villagers had laced the food with a powerful sleeping drug. The angels all passed out. When Taisan woke up, he was disoriented. He looked around and saw that Mir was gone. He immediately ran outside, and his blood ran cold when he saw her. Mir was tied to a wooden pole, unconscious, surrounded by a ring of fire that was about to burn her alive. The villagers were standing around her, yelling and screaming, calling her a witch. They had seen her power and assumed that her help was actually a curse in disguise. In that single moment, Taisan's anger exploded. With a roar of pure rage, his power surged, and the ground trembled beneath his feet. The villagers, now terrified, ran for their lives. The incident left a permanent scar on Taisan's heart. He came to a painful realization that humans were greedy and ungrateful. He had saved them, and they had repaid him with betrayal. It was that moment that Taisan declared that the angels would no longer help humanity. Meanwhile, at a remote location, Saman's ritual reached its climax. With his own blood, Saman finally brought Ogui back to life. He was a terrifying sight to behold, a demon with the form of a crow and eyes that glowed a fiery red. He was the very embodiment of darkness, the eternal enemy of the angels of light. Ogui was furious, scolding Saman for taking thousands of years to resurrect him. But his mood changed to pure, unadulterated joy when he heard a piece of news that made his heart soar. Taisan and Marok were still alive. He finally had a reason to destroy the world and finish his old grudge because, as it turned out, they were the ones who had imprisoned him in hell. On the other side of town, the angels were living their normal, human lives. Kangji and Malsuk were running early in the morning. Doni, on the other hand, was doing his warm-ups when he gave up and decided to get some breakfast instead. While Doni was enjoying his meal, he showed his incredible power. He could read minds, even the thoughts of a stray dog. The dog started barking at him, and Kangji and Malsuk had to quickly grab him and apologize to the dog's owner. Later that day, Ogui was walking among humans, his appearance completely unremarkable, but Mur, who was nearby, felt a strange energy around her. She didn't see him, but she knew something was off. That night, Mur was at a bar trying to clear her head. Suddenly, she had a vision of Ogui's terrifying figure. She tried to stay calm and decided not to tell anyone about what she had seen. Just then, a couple of older guys started bothering her, trying to convince her to come with them. Mur was not in the mood. She had a long day and a lot on her mind, so she gave them a lesson they would never forget. Meanwhile, on top of a skyscraper, Ogui was talking to Saman. Ogui looked down at the modern world, which was completely different from what he had known. He scolded Saman for not turning the world into hell, but Saman explained that only Ogui could do that. He then told Ogui that a man named Haitai had left behind 3 soul stones before Taisan killed him. With the stones, Ogui could gain Haitai's power and defeat the angels. Behind his loyalty to Ogui, Saman had his own mission. His personal goal was to become immortal, and he saw Ogui as his key to eternal life. The next day, the angels were having lunch. Taisan was on another mission, and he had already taken out another group of gangsters. The gangster boss was so scared that he was happy to pay back his debt. As Taisan was about to leave, his chest felt tight, and he suddenly felt a wave of anxiety wash over him. He started to feel dizzy and the room began to spin. He rushed to a psychiatrist to get some anxiety medication, a secret he had kept from all the other angels. Meanwhile, Salmon was in the middle of a ritual to raise an army of evil spirits. On the other side of town, Marok, who was on his way home, felt a strange vibration. He pulled his necklace out from under his shirt and saw it glowing. The same thing was happening to the necklaces of the other angels at Angel Capital headquarters. It was a clear sign that the evil spirits were entering the human world. Kang Ji then had a vision that showed her exactly where the spirits were. She told the others that waiting for Marok and Taisan would take too long, and they needed to go now. Her friends agreed, knowing full well that Taisan would be furious with them for running into danger without him. At the same time, Mira was about to leave the museum when her necklace activated. Suddenly, a swarm of people in black clothes with black eyes appeared behind her. A brutal fight broke out, with Myrrh trying to fight them all off alone. She was completely outmatched by the sheer number of spirits, and she was starting to lose hope. But then, a moment later, Kang Ji and the others showed up and jumped into the fray. From a distance, Salmon watched through his ritual, a satisfied smirk on his face as he saw the angels struggling. Tyson had just returned to his office when he finally received the danger signal. He checked his necklace and saw it glowing brightly, and in that moment, he realized that the forces of darkness had returned. Meanwhile, in the museum's basement, Myrrh and the others were still fighting to keep the spirits from taking Myrrh. They were getting completely overwhelmed. One by one, the angels started to fall. That's when Marok arrived. His eyes went wide when he saw the forces of darkness that he had helped seal away thousands of years ago. He pulled out a magical staff and immediately went to work, turning the evil spirits into stone. He told the angels to get out of there while they still could, but Salmon wasn't having it. He possessed one of the spirits, and with his newfound power, the spirit choked Marok until his staff's magic wore off, freeing all of Salmon's minions. Doni and Wansung rushed to help Marok, but it was a struggle. They managed to free him, and Marok once again swung his staff. But one by one, Salmon's forces disappeared. Luckily, Marok was able to grab one of them and touch it to find out where their power came from. He was shocked when he had a vision of his ancient archenemy, Salmon. After the evil spirits vanished, the angels immediately headed home. On the way, Wansung said out loud that the evil aura from the attackers had felt strangely familiar. But Marok kept the truth to himself, not revealing that Salmon was the one behind it all. Meanwhile, from a distance, Ogui was watching the whole thing through his scrying. When he saw Marok appear, he smiled, feeling like he was meeting an old friend again. Back at the headquarters, Taisan was visibly anxious, pacing back and forth, waiting for news from his team. The moment he saw them walk through the door, safe and sound, he let out a huge sigh of relief. Tyson and Mir locked eyes for the first time in a long time. Right away, Marok asked to speak with Taisan privately about something serious. While they were talking, the others went to Bangwol to get treated. Since Bangwol wouldn't, or perhaps couldn't speak, Doni translated for him by reading his thoughts. After treating Malsuk and Kangji, Bangwol went to check on Mir, who thankfully didn't have any serious injuries. She said she was fine and promised to come back soon before leaving. In the midst of all the chaos, Juidal got into some trouble. He snuck into Bangwol's herb storage room and got a little too curious. He nonchalantly tried a few of the herbs, which caused him to have a seizure. Luckily, Bangwol found him and immediately saved him. Bangwol then proceeded to scold Juidal for messing around. Juidal wasn't the only one getting a lecture. Bangwol also got on Wansung's case for messing with his electronic massage chair.
Hold up!
Just then, Taisan and Marok walked back into the room, and the atmosphere immediately turned tense. Malsuk and Wansung immediately asked about the demons and why they had returned. But Marok was silent, determined to keep the truth he had discovered a secret. That's when Kangji stepped in, urging them to find out who was behind it all, before more people got hurt. But Taisan said he was done protecting humans after what had happened to Mir in the past. Kangji wasn't having it. She argued that protecting humans was their sacred duty as angels, but Taisan didn't care. He said he would rather watch the human world burn than risk losing his family again. As the story explained earlier, the God of Light sent 12 zodiac angels to the mortal world. But as the angels know, only 8 of them remain, along with Marok, a regular human who was given a special ability by the god. This means that 4 zodiac angels died in the war, leaving a deep wound that made Tyson feel that the god of light didn't care about them. After the heated argument with Kangji, Marok invited Won Sung to a cafe to talk privately. Marok told Won Sung that he knew that deep down, Tyson still wanted to protect humanity, but he loved his family more than anything in the world. Marok also said that Tyson was hoping that Won Sung would take his place as the leader of the Zodiac Angels. Won Sung was completely in shock. His mind was a mess, with a part of him doubting it and a part of him wanting to believe it. Meanwhile, Tyson went down a winding staircase in his secret vault. The stairs led him to a secret place, which turned out to be the tomb of the 4 Zodiac Angels who had died in the war. When he heard that the evil spirits had returned, his old wounds were reopened, and he was filled with deep sadness. His memory was interrupted when Marok came to him and told him that Samin was the one behind the revival of the evil spirits. Tyson's heart was hurt, but he still stood by his decision to not fight. He told Marok that they were just ordinary humans with long lives now, and they didn't have the power to fight the demons. A little while later, Myr kept her promise and returned to Angel Capital. She was like a ray of light in the middle of a dark sky. The next day, Kang Ji couldn't stop thinking about what her leader had said. She was in a deep dilemma because, unlike the other angels, Kang Ji truly loved humans. Her faith was being tested by her leader's decision to no longer protect them. At the same time, Tyson went to visit Gumsun and Manbak. With a serious expression, he forced them to take a large sum of money and told them to move as far away from the country as they could. He did it because he was worried that a great danger was on the horizon. Meanwhile, Won Sung secretly borrowed a high-tech tracking device from Juidol. He lied and said he was going to hunt down some drug dealers. In reality, Won Sung was using the technology to track the demon's energy because he wanted to prove Marok's words right, that he was worthy of becoming the next leader. Elsewhere, Marok went to a research center to meet with a scientist. The scientist reported that the ancient artifact that was found in the old tomb had gone missing. The investigation was then put on hold when Won Sung called Marok to tell him that he couldn't find any evil energy at his location. Won Sung wanted to give up, but Marok motivated him again by telling him that he was a true leader. A little while later, Gumsun and Manbak came back to return all the money Tyson had given them. Gumsun told him that she would never leave because, in her eyes, Tyson would always be her protector. Their conversation brought up a memory from the past. The scene took us back to a time when a young Gumsun was just a girl. Tyson found a group of thugs causing a scene at the market. They were trashing the place, including Gumsun's mother's shop. The market vendors owed Tyson money, and he had decided to take over the land. The gangsters, thinking they were tough, challenged Tyson to a fight. Without hesitation, Tyson went to work, beating every single one of them. For Gumsun, it was proof that behind his tough exterior, Tyson had the heart of a guardian angel. As they left the angel capital, Tyson asked if Gumsun and Manbak were dating. Gumsun denied it, but Manbak confessed that he had a crush on her. In another part of town, Kangji, Chuidal, and Malsuk brought Myr to an orphanage. At that moment, Myr suddenly had a terrifying vision that showed her friends in grave danger and Tyson involved. Myr's bad feeling wasn't for no reason. It turned out that Ogui now had one of the 3 soul stones that were left behind by Heitai. If he collected all 3 and transferred them to a dragon soul, he would gain Heitai's power, and Samin would become immortal. The story then introduced Heti, a tiger angel who, from the get-go, was a dead ringer for Tyson. They were both blessed with the tiger's raw power and tasked with the same mission to protect humanity. Over time, Tyson and Heitai became as thick as thieves, often running missions side by side. Even as Heitai grew up, their teamwork was a sight to behold. Tyson was always there to remind Heitai that their main gig was to protect humanity. Whenever evil spirits came to stir up trouble, Tyson and Heitai would shut them down in the blink of an eye. They were a force of nature. Later that night, after coming back from the orphanage, Myr, Kangji, Juidol, and Malsuk found Won Sung waiting for them. He was feeling pretty proud of himself, telling them that he had just wrapped up a mission for Marok. The team decided to chill out for a bit, grabbing a bunch of bonuses and their favorite food. Just then, Marok rolled up to the office, looking for Tyson because there was something major he had to talk about. He found Tyson sleeping after getting drunk. Moments later, after Tai-sun woke up, Marok showed Tai-sun a video. The video was a total shocker, showing Oh-gui's terrifying comeback from hell. It showed Oh-gui going to a research lab and effortlessly snatching one of the 3 soul stones that had belonged to Hai-Tai. Marok couldn't help but wonder what Samin's deal was, bringing Oh-gui back to life after all this time. Meanwhile, somewhere else in the city, Samin was getting antsy, ready to kick off his plan. He was still haunted by the memory of Hai-Tai's death, an event he had seen with his own 2 eyes. Everyone thought Samin had died, but he had survived, and now he was dead set on revenge. Just then, Oh-gui appeared before him and told him to get ready because he was about to find all of Hai-Tai's soul stones. After that, Oh-gui used his power to find the second one. It was a piece of cake. He easily found the stone, which had been accidentally found on an ancient dig site by a jeweler, and was now on display in a private collection. The very next day, a couple of Samin's followers caught up with the excavator worker to get the soul stone from him. Elsewhere, Mir and Malsuk were training together. All of a sudden, Mir's wind powers came out of nowhere. Even though the other angel's powers were gone, the others suspected this was because she possessed a dragon's soul. In the meantime, Bangwol gave Doni a special herbal potion, telling him to drink it only when he was in grave danger from evil spirits. The potion would give him a power boost, but since it was the last one, he had to use it wisely. Just then, the angel saw Marok leave in a hurry. He had officially resigned from the police force, realizing he would be too busy fighting a powerful enemy. That night, Tai-san asked to speak with Mira privately. Tai-san explained that the evil spirits were hunting her because Oh-gui had returned. Mira immediately had a terrible vision of a tragic event that was about to happen to them. She offered to help find out what the spirits were after, but Tai-san told her to stay home and let him and Marok handle everything. A little while later, Marok told the other angels about Oh-gui and Samin's return. They were shocked and worried about Mir, who had a dragon soul. Meanwhile, Wansung had been looking for Samin and his crew all day. He finally got a strange signal from his device, and it was coming from a mountain up ahead. He went after the signal until nightfall, following a group he believed to be evil spirits into a tunnel. He moved carefully so as not to get caught, but when he got to the tunnel, the spirits vanished into thin air. At the same time, Tai-san went back to the Tomb of the Angels and remembered the past. He remembered a time when he had a conversation with Oh-gui before he and Marok sealed him away in hell. Tai-san's plan was always to end Oh-gui because he had been messing with humans. But Mir had always tried to protect Oh-gui and stop Tai-san from going to the extreme. And now Oh-gui has been brought back to life by Samin. A little while later, Marok and Wansung showed up to announce that Wansung had successfully found where Oh-gui and Samin were hiding. At this point, on the other hand, Samin and Oh-gui had already collected 2 of the soul stones and were now planning to get the last one. Their goal was to also get the dragon's soul that Mir had so they could achieve their goal. However, they had a major obstacle in their way: Tai-san, the most dangerous tiger angel. The next day, Marok and Tai-san went to the tunnel without telling the other angels. But before they could even go inside, Marok's necklace started glowing, which was a sign of danger. The danger was connected to Gumsun, Tai-san's biggest weakness. She was being attacked by evil spirits. Manbok tried his best to hold off the spirits so Gumsun could escape, but he was no match for them and was easily defeated. Gumsun ran as fast as she could and hid in a public restroom. Soon after, Tai-san and Marok arrived. Manbok, who was barely able to stand, pointed in the direction Gumsun had run. The spirits were close behind and were checking every restroom stall. Luckily, Tai-san arrived just in time and took them all out. He got Gumsun and gave her to Marok, who helped her escape, but they were surrounded by even more spirits. Luckily, the rest of the angels showed up just in time. Malsuk and Doni stayed behind to hold off the demons while the others got Gumsun to safety. Because the angels' powers were fading, both Malsuk and Doni were quickly overwhelmed. The leader of the spirits stayed behind to make sure they couldn't get up, while the others went after Gumsun. While the angels were busy saving Gumsun, Samin and his followers broke into Angel Capital. The attack on Gumsun was just a distraction to get the angels out of the way. Samin's real goal was to capture Mir so he could bring back the darkness. As the spirits broke in, Mir and Bangwol got ready for a fight. Meanwhile, Tai-san was on a rampage, taking out every spirit he could find. The scene ended with a flashback to a younger Tyson hitting on Gumsun's mother. It was clear that Tyson once had a crush on a human, which is probably why he cares so much about Gumsun.
어?
태산